Hi, my name is Anthony Wilson and this is New Energy Conversations. Today I'm talking to Tracey Weeks, the Manager of Financial and Strategic Investments at NGC. What is energy transition?
Energy transition is a transition to clean energy future without any negative environmental impacts. So it's scaling clean energy such as renewable energy sources, solar and wind power, and scaling down consumption of fossil fuels such as coal and oil, because these emit greenhouse gases such as carbon dioxide when they're burned. And we know the negative effects of the greenhouse gases. So in effect, energy transition is a transition to a low carbon energy system whereby we systematically reduce carbon emissions year on year on a path to realize the Paris Alignment targets. And the Paris Alignment targets we're all familiar with, which is where we're striving to limit global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial temperatures.
Right. What is the cost of this energy transition?
The cost is approximately $4 trillion per year. And that is just to...
So that's a global cost?
That's a global cost. And that's just to stabilize to the 1.5 degrees Celsius temperature, because you know temperatures are rising. That's just to stabilize, $4 trillion per year. And that is effectively $30 trillion to invest in clean projects and infrastructure so that we hit, and that's by 2030, so that we can achieve a net zero target by 2030. Transition spending actually has been on the uptick, has been gradually increasing, but we haven't reached the level to that which is required. In 2021, actually, $755 billion was spent in low carbon energy transition projects. And that was up from $595 billion the prior year. So it's a $160 billion increase. And the two main sectors within that category would be renewable energy and energized transport. And when we say renewable energy, we're talking about wind and solar installations. And that actually attracted $366 billion in 2021 alone. Within the energized transport, this actually increased by 77% over the prior year to $273 billion. And that is primarily driven by the sales in electric vehicles. So that was spurred on, and that was the fastest growing sector in 2021.
Who's going to pay for the energy transition?
Governments, supranational organizations, financial institutions, non-financial institutions, and corporates. And for example, you have corporates, particularly the utility sector, because they were actually at the forefront of investing in renewable infrastructure as a means to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions. So any corporates, so you had the European Investment Bank issued a bond for 660 billion euros in 2007. You have the International Bank for Reconstruction and Development issuing a $440 million bond in 2008, and the International Finance Corporation issuing another green bond in 2010. So it's all a mixture of government, supranational organization, corporates who will be funding this energy transition.
Does the energy transition require special forms of financing?
Yes, it does. We actually have transition bonds. So transition bonds actually finance the brown industries, and these are industries with high greenhouse gas emissions. So the industries that are not really in target or aligned to the vision of a low carbon environment. But so examples are utilities, mining, and heavy industries. So what they've done now is, because they have exposure to fossil fuel, they will not be privy or will not have access to capital in the sustainable financing market. So the transition bonds allow them to access capital so that they could fund and move to greener industries and perhaps adopt low carbon emission business models. And they also have, so that's transition bonds, and they also have green bonds, and that's mainly the main type of financing within this space. And it's about a $1.5 trillion market as of 2021. And these invest in projects that are beneficial to the environment. You also have sustainability bonds, and these they merge green projects and a social project. So they merge those projects to have a positive benefit, a positive impact to social and environmental spheres. There's also a sustainability-linked bond, but don't mix that up with the sustainability bond. Because the sustainability-linked bond, you have to commit to specific improvements in sustainability outcomes. Like you have to say you want to decarbonize, or you have a certain target to decarbonize, so that you can be privy to issue a sustainability-linked bond. And financing is integral to this energy transition.
Will taxpayers benefit from the energy transition and or its financing?
Everybody will benefit, taxpayers and non-taxpayers. So you actually have a cooling effect. With this energy transition now, you'll actually feel a bit cooler. Actually, there's the frequency of extreme heat events will double to 2050, and the intensity will increase by 120%. So if we do engage in this transition, we can have a cooling effect, and we will not be going through those the frequency of extreme heat events will reduce. You also have more access to electricity. They have 800 million people without access, worldwide, without access to electricity. So that is something that will be beneficial. And you'll also be privy to jobs. You'll have more, 80 million jobs will open up in the renewable and the transition energy space as a result of this transition to energy. So let's work together, let's collaborate, let's coordinate along with the NGC and mitigate the effects of climate. And financing is an integral part to the energy transition.
What are the chances of these special energy financing instruments being issued in Trinidad and Tobago?
Yes, there's a market for it. We have most of the financial institutions, local financial institutions have allocated billions of dollars towards financing for sustainable projects. And so there is access to capital there.
Tracey, I'd like to thank you for joining us today on New Energy Conversations. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thanks for being here.